Hello, everyone. This is Reb here. This is going to be my first drawing video. Actually had to go through and redo the video as I was figuring out things out, and that's the purpose of these videos is for it to be a test. And the one thing I have to work on is because I know that I think technically speaking, when you do drawing videos, you try to have it like above you. Well, you can't actually see it, but I don't have the capacity to have a camera like that set up, which would be nice. So just have to do what I can. Um, so when I draw something, I don't really. When I'm literally just doodling, sketching, whatever you want to do call it, I don't really think it through. I just kind of start drawing and see what happens. Um, and to kind of give you an idea, of what that can look like, this sketch pad is something that I think I got as a gift. Like, for example, this, whatever it is, I don't know. Um, it's an example of something I just started drawing and it kind of happened. I don't know how well you can see that. That's something I don't know when I do these, but it's just an example of something that happens. Now this right here is actually was inspired by I did a game. Um, I was doing a game with uh, if you're familiar with Twitch, there was a streamer on there, um, big into dinosaurs. Danny, I'm not sure how to say her last name. I'll have to put her information in the description. But we did this game. For the life of me, I can't remember what it is, but it was something where it was a game where um, you were basically given sort of like a prompt that you had to kind of um, create. You had other people choose pictures and words and stuff, and you had to kind of come up with almost like a PowerPoint um, presentation. And mine, the thing that I end up doing with whoever I was partnered up with, it ended up being about a dinosaur DNA that was found in I think a tomato. And so I had literally this idea: just draw a tomato with a dinosaur. And I remember when I, without knowing this, I think almost zombie-ish, but that's supposed to be like a dinosaur. I tried to do a dinosaur stuck in a tomato. That's definitely an example of something I didn't um, just come up the top. And then I have, and these are examples of things that you might see me draw. A storyteller cover, which I don't know. I don't know if I ever used this for anything, but that's something that you might see me draw as episode covers. And there's that random thing. I don't know what it is. Just another thing I just started drawing. Oh, this. That's actually a reference to Storyteller, but in a when I did something on YouTube. Well, I'm on YouTube. Oh no. But yeah. Uh, Once I figured out that I actually could have a setup for. Oh, yeah, this thing. I do this for another streamer. We were always referred to as a small bean. Voice unmuted. She also has a lot of it. She does covers here on YouTube. Um, see, when did I make that? Oh, huh. That's interesting. 23, 620. Oh, you know what? That was probably July. I was reading it wrong. It says 623, but that makes no sense because we haven't had that yet. But um that's the day, the month and the day. Doesn't have the year. Um, uh, Another. I really like this one. I mean, it was another cover thing for one of the YouTube videos. I don't have on here anymore. But anyways, I had a lot of thoughts about what to do with the video like this. I thought just a writing prompt, a drawing prompt. But I thought I would just draw and see what happens. And I just realized that blue pen. I prefer just. I do some things in pencil. I do some things in pen. But I like to. Sometimes when I draw in pen, I do it to challenge myself because you can't erase pen, and I just kind of. Draw. As you can kind of see, I just have a thing about doing like the shapes and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know why I do. It's just sometimes I do that stuff. Um, I just start drawing shapes and turns into something. Um, I will say this that uh, it when I did the Lego thing, it was easy to figure out something to talk about, but now that I'm honestly trying to be really focused on what I'm doing, even though I have no idea what I'm doing, which seems like a good philosophy for life. Really focused on what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. Life. Live it. New commercial for Life cereal. Life cereal, it makes you think about your life. Oh, this is good. Oh my gosh. When that person said that to me, they really meant that. My life has been changed. Oh no. Anyways, I don't know. Random thoughts that go through my head. Honestly, what I'll probably do is just record until I'm done something. I don't know. Oh, thank you. Thing in the background that I don't know if the people can hear it. When I was in high school, um, as you might be able to tell, I really don't like doing realistic stuff. Um, I'm I was the kind of artist in high school that I joked around the fact that I do abstract because I don't know what I'm doing. But in all seriousness, when I was in high school, I had to do still lifes for one of my classes, and I had no idea what I was doing. My teacher almost kind of defended what I did by saying I had a unique look. I didn't hard to tell her. I didn't have the heart to tell her I had no idea what I was doing. And it's funny that the still life I did as an assignment actually got. She put it in one of her in a art art gallery, art show thing, a town over. I mean, it was all student art that was in it, but mine was one of the ones that got chosen. So it was kind of cool. But the reality is I remember when I was drawing it, um, there was a certain technique that you're supposed to use to use charcoal, which I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of doing things that are too messy when it comes to art. Um, so I didn't. I remember feeling like what I understood about doing the technique to get kind of have the edges of this charcoal thing out. This that I was supposed to somehow use the charcoal to shave, yeah, basically fill in the edges. Like there wasn't supposed to be like a hard edge to it. And because I was taking so long doing it that way, the way I thought of it, um, the art teacher probably doesn't remember doing this, but I do. She sat down and she showed me exactly how I was supposed to do it, making a very sharp edge where it was supposed to be. And I think I remember even remembering that back then. So it was like kind of weird the fact that it felt weird that mine got chosen because she had to help me with it. Um, um, I don't know what that is. Um, so there's that. And honestly, I was never a big fan of doing still life realistic stuff. Um, let's see, what else do I have in here? Underneath this desk, on the other side of where the camera is, I have a bunch of art stuff. No, I'm not going to use that. Probably should have figured this out before I did this, but where's the fun in that? Here's something I did recently. Let's do this. Let's see. Oh, no. No, not those. Looking for something in particular that I can't. Oh, there they are. Gonna try something different here. Like I said, I like mixed media. I like to see what happens when I just add a little bit of color and I am a bit of a not perfectionism, but I like being able to say I've used up something before. So I have this thing right here. It's a 48 count of gel pen set. I haven't opened it because I still have some that I'm trying to use up. And like I said, I like to use up what I got before opening up another one. But anyways, I kind of lost track where I was. Oh, right. I always prefer, whenever I'm creating something I like some control over things as far as, I like using pens and markers and markers. I like to use something that things like these Sharpie markers. I had speech problems when I was in high school, and I had some speech issues, and so I have trouble saying some words, which is kind of funny since I'm doing. But that right there is green. It's kind of hard to tell. Let me see if I can. It's kind of hard to tell. I think that's supposed to be green, a dark green. So I mean, I did a lot of art when I was in high school, and I did a little bit in college. I'll have to share on, probably on my Instagram at some point, this drawing I did in college. I took 3 drawing art class. No. Yeah, I took at least 2 art classes, drawing classes in high school. And the more advanced one, basically the way the professor described it, is that as long as you come into class for a little bit. You didn't, I mean, it was a 3 hour class. You had to show up for, an hour, sometimes a half an hour, and just do something. It's basically you show up, you participate, you're fine. It's not a case of. It's basically one of those cases where as long as you put the work in, you're going to get a good grade. So he showed me how to do this one thing um, for basically it was like a fight scene kind of thing. I had um, it wasn't like a war scene. It was more almost like I mean it was a battle scene of some type, and he showed me how I could. I was never good at like creating figures, realistic figures. So he showed me this way to basically take sports pictures of sports people, and basically taking charcoal. Here, funny thing, I just mentioned that I wasn't a big fan of charcoal, and to basically cover the back of where that thing is, like print out a picture, cover it out, then put that on the put that on. It might not have been charcoal. It might have been. No, actually, it might have been like lead, like cover in like pencil, and would place it on whatever paper wherever I wanted that figure, and then I use something. I think it actually was pen because it had to be something that could press down really hard, and I would basically outline with the pen the figure, and then I would take that off, and I would have this very basic figure that I could draw on and kind of elaborate, create, you know, weapons and such. And that's what I did, and I did that for. It was a very big picture. I actually have it framed, um, not in here, but in another room. I think it's still up on a wall. If not, it's somewhere else. Um, I'll have to take a picture of it. I think I have a picture already of it, a picture of the picture, um, and just share it probably on my Instagram. Um, but yeah, I did that for like at least a month, And if I'm being honest, I probably could have done the whole thing and paid like, if I worked on it hard, like the whole 3 hours each class, I could probably have gotten done in like 2 weeks. But I stretched it out to a month because I was like, it's an easy A. Um, but the thing is, I did enjoy working on it because it was a case of that I didn't have to like I could focus on one section at a time without having to be like um, uh, having to like it wasn't a case of you need to get done by a certain time. It was just a case of it's going to take as much time as you want it to take, and I wanted my opinion on a lot of things is if I'm going to do something, do it right. Which is why I haven't streamed on Twitch. That I kind of want to, but I do want to, but I just don't have the time to do it. And if I could manage it, it would probably be maybe once a month. And I don't want to put the effort into something that I can't put a lot of energy and heart towards. I would want it to be like worth my time to do it, and uh, let's go with no, yellow doesn't show up. So as you're seeing now, I started out with this thing, which was very basic in my mind, and then I did this. um, and I don't really plan it. I don't really, say, oh, this is how I'm going to do this. Like literally, I have drawings that I did in high school, part of drawing classes that literally started out as doodles. I just opened up my sketch pad, which I still have all of them somewhere, where I basically just doodled and it started to turned into something, and I kind of just went with it. Um, um, to be honest, I probably will have more of these videos and the model one, mainly because it's it's almost 10 o'clock my time, and I'm not tired. I am tired, but doing this kind of helps. You know, I might end up doing something like this almost a couple nights a week, just for the sake of drawing something. Um, hmm. Though I said that I don't like artwork and stuff that's messy, but there's a chance that some of the models that I end up putting together, well, I don't think any of the ones I got require any of that. I was very kind of intentional about that, but going forward, as I was looking at some other models, and I think that there's a chance that I might end up being in a situation where I either have to paint them or else they're just going to be blank, and that's just going to be boring. Um, so, you know, and if you're wondering well, actually, you can probably see from the angle. This is just a regular pen. Like I I'm a very kinesthetic learner. Like I tend to remember more and comprehend more when I'm physically doing something. Um, so it's like I obviously it means that I didn't do too well in certain classes in high school. Whoa. Sorry, very sorry for that. If anyone was listening to this with headphones, I am very sorry. I turned my mic over. I'm going to mute for a second and see if I can move it somewhere. Okay, testing. 1 2 1 2 1 2. That may not work. I will make sure that I say that was 23. Um, yeah, I'm a drawer and I don't have a piece of pen. I don't have a paper. Just do this. 23. It's probably a little bit before 23. So I say 22:45 through 23. Mic drop. Beware. um, yeah, I'll give you a little like. I use the same mic that I use for recording. It's this thing. It's called a Samsung Meteor mic, I think. But thing is, it's just literally on a little tripod there. In this case, because um, I think in reality, the best thing that I could do if I had the setup was to have like a boom mic, have this over the top of my head, um, with the camera right next to it. But I don't know if it would pick things up enough. Um, the funny thing is like my original plan was to use my phone for these videos, and then I remembered something. Um, Years ago, it was probably an ad on Instagram. It's fair warning, a lot of those Instagram videos, ads that promise some kind of good deal, you need to be wary of those because um, I think on 2 occasions. On one occasion, if it wasn't for my bank being able to realize that something was fraud, I would have probably had some problems. I remember it was many years ago. I was looking through probably Instagram or somewhere, and I saw an ad for these Star Wars Lego stuff that was like very cheap, and I tried to buy them. And well, for some reason the payment would never go through, and as I did a little Googling of the company, I realized, oh, possible fraud, possible scam. So I was like very thankful my bank called those fraud things and I didn't get charged. So that is a legit scam. Another thing that technically isn't a scam, but I wouldn't do it. The camera that I'm using, it doesn't have any kind of branding on it. Um, so I got it off this website called Wish several years ago. I actually went on there for, again, I think it was one of those Instagram ad things. It was for one of those things, like, it looks like a Super Nintendo and it's supposed to have all these Super Nintendo games on it. And it was like $40 before shipping and handling because I think I may have lost, only got back the $40 that was the actual cost of the device. I think I didn't get the shipping and handling because technically I did. Anyways, the point is I got this thing, um, and when I got it, I realized it looked like the Super Nintendo, but it didn't have what it was supposed to have on there. It was supposed to have a certain number of games, and it had like I think half of that, and it wasn't even the right games. And I took pictures of everything. I did get my money back, but I learned after I went through this that one of the reasons why they are so cheap is because Wish, at least you have to check on there because apparently there are some things on there that do ship from America, but I think a lot of it ships from like China or Japan. And the reason why it's so cheap is because every when you order something, the shipping it was probably incredibly cheap because essentially they get the packages ready. They basically put it on a big boat, from what I understand, and the boat just sits there until it's full, until it has the number of packages and stuff in it that it's supposed to have before it can go. It was like, in other words, it doesn't matter if you were supposed to get something, in a week. If that boat hasn't been filled up yet, then you're just still waiting. So I didn't know that when I ordered stuff off of that, and I end up getting everything I ordered. And other than the Nintendo thing that didn't work, everything I got was at least decent quality. And while I was kind of on that website before, I kind of realized things. I got this camera here. Um, and honestly, it doesn't. It was cheap. It works, but it was cheap. And like right now, it's the cord that's connecting this camera to my computer that's over here this way. Um, that is the only way to connect. It's a USB Mini B plug, and the only reason that I'm even able to do this is because the cord that I have that came with with my mic that I showed you earlier, um, fits it, and it's longer. So the mic, the wire right now, the wires that I have connected to the camera and the mic are actually the ones that came with each other. Um, but I do have a longer one coming. That way, I can use the real mic. My hope is by having a longer wires on both of the things that it will allow me a little more freedom and things like the mic being hit won't happen because I can have it. It has a pretty good pickup on it, so I think I can move it so it's not as close to me, um, and I don't accidentally hit it. Um, so I don't know what this is. Um, let's see. Yeah. let me try something. Here we have a nice little happy tree. No. Now, if anyone asks how I do what I do, I don't know. You're seeing it right in front of you, and I just draw. Like, I couldn't tell you how I do it. I just, yeah, I went through drawing classes, but I never had teachers to actually teach me how to do certain things. I kind of just did it, you know. And before anybody asks, I don't do commissions. um, Several years, well, at this point it was several years ago. I was doing well, I'm in a leader at a youth group. I mentioned that in the last video. Um, I I'm guessing that some of you are young, and you know the idea of getting messages through, you know, what's referred to as snail mail is something that doesn't happen for you a lot unless it's like, you know, maybe messages from grandparents and whatnot, birthday cards, things like that. But a lot of things are so digitized, which there's nothing wrong with that. But it also means that the percentage of the time that you get a physical letter or anything in the mail is very low. So when the pandemic hit, and you know the leaders in the youth group I'm in were basically trying to come up with ideas of what to do. Our youth pastor, who he at the time he was also a teacher um, for uh, elementary school kids. I think it was like third grade or something. I don't remember exactly, but he would actually send out letters on a regular like basis to his students, and he did a lot of these. And it was a rare thing to get letters, and you know, it was something that you know we basically he made sure we all had addresses, and if we and it was really a case of that if we needed anything to allow it to be easier for us to do this, the different leaders were supposed to, you know, he was asking, you know, we can send out letters or just messages to the different youth just to kind of keep in touch and whatnot during the pandemic when, frankly, we were doing a lot of things digitally. Um, and so I, I've, I've made cards before, like, you know, um, I would take somewhere around here. I have this very thick paper that I use to make my own cards. I still have a lot of them, but I remember posting these things on Facebook, and I got this message from someone, friend of the family kind of thing. I don't really feel like I know her that well or at all, you know, and I never stated that I was making these for anyone other than I was doing it for my youth group. It was just a thing that I was doing for my youth group, and that was it. And she sent me this message that stated, "Can you make one?" I think it was for her granddaughter. It was like a birthday card. It was like, "Can you bring, can you make a birthday card for my granddaughter? Uh, you can give it to your grandpa, who my grandpa, my late grandpa at this point, is they were very good close friends. Her and his her I was about to say her wife, her husband is like brothers with my grandpa, so they were very close. And I knew that it's something I could probably make some money on, but I really didn't want to, it because I don't like I said the reason I don't do commissions because I don't know what I'm drawing until I start drawing. And so when I did these cards, I basically, the covers were kind of just whatever they ended up being. I always, because it was for youth group, I had some that had crosses on it and stuff like that. But um, I basically, I think I did respond back to the person that says I only do them for my youth group. That's the only thing I was doing them with. And I don't know. It honestly struck me a little bit like wrong. I mean, she was a family friend and all that, but she never asked me if I would do one. She kind of just said, "You can make one for me," and it wasn't the case of, "Oh, I'll give you a little money for it." It was like, "You can make one for me," and it was like, "No, not." Like I said, I don't do commissions. I don't do stuff like that. I just draw because it's a relaxing thing for me. It's something that I do just to pass the time and whatnot. So here we have it, my first thing, and you saw it happening right in front of you. Um, yeah, it all started with that little thing right there. I'm just going to Bob Ross, and I'm going to sign this. Uh, let's see, today's 5/29/23. Well, that's it for today. I hope everyone who watches this video has a very good day. God bless, and I will see you on the next one.